It was the year 1880 in the city of Atlanta, Georgia, USA. An experienced pharmacist named John Pemberton was running a pharmacy called Jacobs in Atlanta. He spent the rest of his afternoons trying to create a product that could cure various common ailments and illnesses of the time, such as pain and stomach discomfort. He was obsessed with developing this product, knowing that if he created some kind of syrup, he could sell it successfully in his pharmacy. On a typical day, an old doctor appeared with a teapot containing a syrup with qualities similar to what this pharmacist was seeking. The doctor offered to sell the recipe for $500. This syrup proved to be very useful, and Pemberton started selling it successfully. This beverage was not only sold to patients with ailments but to everyone as a refreshing drink. However, tragedy would soon strike his life. John Pemberton fell seriously ill and ended up in bed with a severe illness. He went bankrupt, and a man took advantage of his misfortune, stealing the recipe along with his small, growing business, turning it into a global empire. This is the incredible story of Coca-Cola and the significant business lessons it teaches us. When John Pemberton, an obsessed pharmacist, was trying to create a tonic to alleviate various common ailments, he obtained the recipe for a syrup made from cola and coca leaves. The latter is a powerful stimulant that would undoubtedly relieve pain and offer energizing qualities. He successfully mixed the ingredients with the help of his wife and made slight modifications to the recipe until he achieved a tonic with an ideal flavor. Shortly after, Pemberton added carbonated water and created the recipe that would become the world's most famous refreshing drink, Coca-Cola. In 1886, a new temperance legislation promoting non-alcoholic beverages was enacted in Atlanta, making Coca-Cola very popular. This greatly benefited Pemberton, who could now distribute barrels of his syrup to well-known soda fountains, where it was mixed with carbonated water. Coca-Cola gained great acceptance in the city's community and started being sold in other cities. However, shortly afterward, John Pemberton fell ill with stomach cancer and had little time left. He spent his savings trying to find a cure to improve his health, but with no success. He desperately tried to find investors, selling a significant portion of his business to leave some money for his wife and son. Among the investors who responded to his call was a greedy businessman named Asa Griggs Candler, who was also a pharmacist. He had tried Coca-Cola syrup and found it fantastic. Recognizing its potential, he bought nearly half of the company, becoming one of the majority partners of Pemberton. 2 years later, Pemberton's illness took his life in 1888 at the age of 55. Asa Candler persuaded Pemberton's widow to sell him the remaining third of the Coca-Cola company that still belonged to Pemberton before his death. The widow agreed to the deal naively for a very small amount of money. From that point on, Candler would gradually buy out the rest of the company from each shareholder. No one knew the incredible potential of Coca-Cola better than Candler, who was also a pharmacist. It would have been a mistake not to act and buy the remaining Coca-Cola shares while the company was still small and acquire them at a low price. Until that time, Coca-Cola was not sold individually as it is today, it was only supplied in syrup barrels to the soda fountains. The first major lesson from the history of Coca-Cola is how to market its products. Instead of providing a finished product initially, supplying it as a raw material allowed for greater expansion. The owners of the soda fountains were responsible for serving it as a finished product, adding carbonated water on their own, and providing the container in which the drink was served. These were the beginnings of what would later be known as a franchise. Additionally, Coca-Cola saved time and money on individual supplies. 13 years after Pemberton's death, in the year 1901, the Coca-Cola Company was producing more than 500 barrels of syrup that were sold as raw materials to soda fountains. Asa Candler would soon become the wealthiest man in Atlanta. However, the fame of their product brought along a series of problems when, in June 1906, the state issued the Food and Drug Act, which regulated companies selling medicines and packaged foods. This law required manufacturers in the emerging food industry to include certain information, such as product ingredients. As a result, the name Coca-Cola, which initially contained stimulants like coca leaves, was banned because it was deemed harmful to health, especially for children. Candler had to modify the original recipe, replacing the strong stimulant with caffeine and adding significant amounts of cane sugar to replace the coca leaf stimulant. In addition to altering Pemberton's original recipe, the state claimed that the product was mislabeled. Since it no longer contained coca leaf extract, there was no reason to maintain the name. The new laws required a name change for Coca-Cola. This decision would have severely impacted the product's market position, as it was already widely recognized as Coca-Cola. Changing the name would risk losing the prestige and branding built over 20 years, which was unacceptable for the current owner of Coca-Cola. Here we learn another business lesson, where Candler's persuasion skills and business acumen come into play. Unlike other businesses that complied, Candler took the matter to court, defending his company's name. After years of legal battles, the name Coca-Cola remained unchanged. Candler also reduced the caffeine levels in the drink by half and stopped using images of children in their advertising. Candler proved to be a true entrepreneur and businessman, handling significant obstacles and resolving them in favor of the company. His success and recognition eventually led him to become the mayor of Atlanta. It's worth mentioning that the business model that began with supplying syrup in barrels remains the same today. The Coca-Cola Company employs external entities, bottlers, around the world to fill containers of various sizes and distribute them. Coca-Cola solely supplies the syrup. The Coca-Cola recipe is said to be the world's best-kept secret. The prepared syrup arrives at the bottlers for mixing and bottling. This is the story of the world's most famous beverage, made possible by the inventor's talent and the visionary business acumen that turned a potentially successful product into a true empire. Coca-Cola is one of the most recognized words worldwide and one of the most distinctive and easily identifiable logos. Currently, over 1.9 billion servings of Coca-Cola are consumed daily around the world. The Coca-Cola Company is currently valued at over $230 billion. Thanks for getting here. I hope you liked the video. If so, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Until next time.